Hello, wrestling fans. I'm Boyd Pierce, your host this week on Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. We appreciate you viewing with us because a lot of action. The Mississippi Heavyweight Championship on the line. Mr. Olympia defending against the challenge of the masked grappler. Bob Roop in the ring against the inevitable Junkyard Dog. Ted DiBiase is back, taking on Tom Jones. Just a lot of great action. And the man who will tell us all about it, the Oklahoma Stampeder, our guest commentator, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, Boyd, a lot of things have been happening in Mid-South, and naturally with the Superdome looming as a large event of the summer in all professional wrestling, I think it often brings out the heat of the moment in a lot of events where everybody's still up in the air over Ted DiBiase. We have examined several things and have an in-depth situation which we'll go into later. And, of course, the Junkyard Dog is going to have to somehow beat Bob Roop, or Bob Roop beat the Dog to see who's number one in line for DiBiase's title. But now let's go to the ring and Reeser Bowden for this first big event on today's card.
It's tag team action now for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 260 pounds from Cincinnati, Ohio, Jeff Sword. And his partner at 230 pounds from Huntsville, Alabama, Doug Vines. And in the blue corner at 287 pounds from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Iron Mike Sharp. And his partner at 236 pounds from Portland, Oregon, Jesse Barr.
Tag team action starts this week's program here on Mid-South Wrestling. You see Jesse Barr in the red, white, and blue shedding his jacket with Canadian star Mike Sharp on one side against Doug Vines and Jeff Sword. Here's Bill Watts.
Well, this tag team action here is getting hot and heavy, as last week we had Big John Studd and Super Destroyer, the international tag champions from Atlanta. The Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia are still the Mid-South tag champions. Matter of fact, right now, that's the Junkyard Dog was sitting on top of the world the 21st of June. He had the North American title, the Louisiana title, and the Mid-South tag title. And when he won the North American title, that automatically caused him to vacate the Louisiana heavyweight title. A tournament has been held in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on July the 6th. We'll go into the details, the results of the winner next week on television. The Junkyard Dog then against DiBiase lost the North American title in a very controversial situation, which we'll examine in depth further. So, like in the blink of an eye, Boyd Pierce, he went from the king of the heap to being down to one title, the co-holder of the Mid-South tag title with Mr. Olympia. And I think the big thing about the Junkyard Dog is he wonders, who can you trust?
It happened so quick, Bill, so quick.
This tag action going with Big Iron Mike Sharp and Jesse Barr happening fast and furious, hard to keep up with. We got Colonel Buck Robley back today against Rick Hangman Harris, a young man who has made quite a name for himself in Mid-South. Also the one-man gang and the Assassin. And Boyd, if we have airtime available, you have a film clip of Jim Dugan, who appeared here as a bounty hunter against Dick Murdoch in a match from San Antonio, and he'll be here next week. Mississippi heavyweight title match, Mr. Olympia and the Grappler. And a special challenge, Ernie Ladd against the only man that ever hospitalized Andre the Giant, Killer Khan, in what should be a battle of giants in its own right. Great move by Jesse Barr, but he was tagged on. There was a tag behind as Sword tagged Doug Vines, excuse me. Doug Vines in, firing away those forearm smashes to Jesse Barr's bicep area. Caught Jesse Barr good with one to the jaw. Quick tag, and these youngsters tag team before, Boyd. You can tell they certainly are making quick teamwork situation. Headlock. Ted DiBiase wrestles Tom Jones next. Great to see Tom back on Mid-South Wrestling. He's been gone for some time. We've heard a lot of great reports. Always a top competitor. Doug Vines headlock on Jesse Barr. Another fast tag. These teams really is taking the action. They're wanting to make a name for themselves on Mid-South. Wow, he really put it to the small of Jesse Barr's back, but Jesse bridges and kicks out. Lyons tries a standing suplex, but Jesse Barr, former United States Wrestling Federation champion from Oregon, he knows how to handle himself in the Greco-Roman style and the freestyle, and that's a definite. Mike Sharp comes in with no finesse, no technique, just brute, overpowering strength. And you see why it's called Iron Mike Sharp. Man's in physical condition is tremendous, his power is tremendous, and I'll tell you, he got right to the meat of the problem and said, I'm coming in and beat somebody, and Jesse Barr just kept the other man out. A great victory for Mike Sharp and Jesse Barr.
And we'll be back with more exciting action and see Ted DiBiase in the ring with Tom Jones after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Well, Boyd Pierce, there's two people that are never wrong, never make mistakes. One's a backseat driver and the other's a Monday morning quarterback, because they always can tell what the other person did wrong and always correct them. And here we have a chance to look at a situation, and it's a very serious situation. Maybe I was making too light of it, in the situation between the Junkyard Dog and Ted DiBiase. But Bob Roop made a comment in the closing moments of that match that DiBiase was doing something, taking something from his trunks and putting it in his glove. And he said, DiBiase had that ready for me, and now he's used it on the dog. And we went back and searched several tapes, and we saw that 2 weeks ago DiBiase had made an interview where Roop had accused him and said he didn't want him able to wear that glove, that it was, DiBiase claimed the glove is holding the tape of his injured hand in place. That when he started sweating, it would come loose, so he just had a glove on it to do it, and had been wearing the glove for about 3 weeks.
Right.
Roop said it was going to be used to cheat him out of the title. He didn't want DiBiase to be able to use it. Naturally, the Junkyard Dog never dreamed that this weapon would be used against him. But let's recall Ted DiBiase's interview and relive it as he was talking about wrestling Bob Roop for the title. One fall, no DQ, and he said he would never stoop so low as to use that glove to beat anybody. Let's relive that.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want any of you wrestling fans out there to feel that Ted DiBiase has gotten too big for his britches, or that I'm off on a big ego trip. It's just that I was unjustly robbed of the North American heavyweight title, and up until now I have not been given proper opportunity to regain that title. And I want to go on record as thanking Mid-South Wrestling right now for going ahead and giving me the opportunity that I want and I deserve to regain the North American title right here next week on television. I got a one fall, no disqualification match with you, Bob Roop, for the North American heavyweight title. And Roop, if you can come out here next week and beat me in a no disqualification match without any other help from outside, no, I take that back, Roop. If I can't beat you in this match, I will pack my bag and I will leave Mid-South without any hard feelings, because I've asked for this match and they've given me the opportunity. And about this hand, Roop, you're complaining about the hand. Well, you know why the hand is hurt. The hand is hurt because of you, and it is simply taped. There's a handball glove covering it to hold the tape on when it gets sweaty. And I would never, Roop, as you would insinuate, use this glove to cheat and use it for an unfair advantage over anybody, because I'm not like you. So right here, Roop, next week, we're going to settle this thing once and for all.
If Ted DiBiase is to categorize himself or type himself or convict himself, it'll be out of the words of his own mouth, because we heard what he said as he thought he was going to be wrestling Bob Roop. As it turned out, he was wrestling the Junkyard Dog for that North American title. And we'll let you fans at home be the judge as just to what happened as we join the closing moments of that one fall, no disqualification match for the North American title, that if DiBiase had not have won, he would have had to leave the Mid-South area. Let's watch and see.
Even with Junkyard Dog holding back, though, there is no way that Ted DiBiase can beat him, because I'll tell you what, if I can't beat the Junkyard Dog, then Ted DiBiase can't beat me, then he can't beat the Junkyard Dog, and I'm coming here on TV next week, and I'm going to beat the Junkyard Dog myself. Look at him, shaking hands. This has got to be a very, very difficult match for both of them, because of the fact that how can you hurt a guy that's watched your back for years? How can you hurt a guy that's sat down at the dinner with you, that's been a friend of you, watched your kids grow up, the whole ball of wax? I love it. I hope they kill each other. Again, look at that power. Junkyard Dog caught him. Well, DiBiase, Junkyard Dog got a little bit off balance. DiBiase got close enough to the ropes. He didn't catch him with that thumper. That might have finished it right there. DiBiase got in the ropes. No. Caught him with that side drop. Not enough. DiBiase had enough resilience to kick out. It's ironic. DiBiase cheated me out of the North American title. Ooh, power slam. This could be it. Oh, I don't believe that. Neither does Ted DiBiase. Going for the figure four. Going for the leg lock. Junkyard Dog over the top rope, but hey, no disqualification in this match. DiBiase's hurt.
Over on the
Do you
cement
believe
floor.
the way, Boyd, excuse me, but do you believe the way Junkyard Dog came out of that power slam? That's what doing that 550-pound bench press, that's what working with those weights does for you. Gives you the strength to get a man off you. Now look him, he's showing his friendship right here. He's showing the fact that he's got a heart. I don't agree with it. I think he ought to finish him. But he's showing he's got some heart here. He's helping a man. He's helping his friend back in the ring. What's Ted DiBiase doing? Wait a minute. What's he doing? He went in his tights and put something in that glove. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Alfred Neely raises a hand.
He put something in that glove.
Of Ted DiBiase.
I knew it.
He is the new North American Heavyweight Champion.
I knew it. He planned. I knew it. I told the people weeks ago. That glove, he planned that for me all along. That glove was planned for me. Can you imagine his best friend? He put something in that glove. Nobody can knock the Junkyard Dog out with just one punch. Look at him. He's still out. Ted DiBiase had that plan for me. Boy, he's got some honor, doesn't he? He's got some decency, doesn't he? His ambition is a lot stronger than his sense of honor. He just stabbed his best friend in the back.
Well, DiBiase maintains that he did not do anything with the glove. And if he had, it's a no disqualification match, so nothing can be done about it anyway. The Junkyard Dog, in talking to him, said he's been hit with everything from when he was a kid in the ghetto, ball bats, everything else, but he's never been hit that hard because he was so wide open. He wasn't looking to have to protect his jaw. Well, you people will be the judge and the jury, and we have Ted DiBiase and Tom Jones in the ring for the next event.
This is a non-title event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, at 255 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, the new North American Heavyweight Champion, Ted DiBiase. And in the blue corner, at 240 pounds from Savannah, Georgia, Tom Jones.
Action continues now with the introduction. There's Tom Jones shedding his colorful jacket, revealing the red and yellow against Omaha, Nebraska's Ted DiBiase. Bill?
Well, like I say, right now the crowd is still partly divided. Some feel that Teddy did cheat the dog, and others, I don't know if they've seen all the information and all the facts. But either way, this should be a great contest between two great athletes. Tom Jones always maintained and proud of his conditioning. DiBiase, we've watched for 5 years here on Mid-South when he started his Rookie of the Year and on the coattails of Dick Murdoch, fighting such battles against such greats as Killer Carl Cox, to where he first gained the North American title. He and the grappler in a match in Monroe that the grappler's knee and leg and ligaments were stretched, where the grappler was in the one to wear the orthopedic boot. The battles Ted DiBiase's had with Paul Orndorff, with Bob Roop, when Bob Roop double-crossed Ted. And now it's all down to this. Quite a span for such a young man in wrestling, and certainly a force to be reckoned with, right or wrong, because he's in the center of things. He is the North American champion. We have a match coming up shortly that will decide who the #1 contender is for his title. I'll just say one thing, in Mid-South Wrestling, you don't get to rest on your laurels. Both men out here, scientific match. Tom Jones, DiBiase back to their feet, arm drag, arm bar. Say DiBiase is sitting in the driver's seat. He's sitting where everything has to happen. When you hold the North American title, everybody in the country is shooting at you. When you're the Mid-South Tag Champions, even the big guns from Atlanta come down, like John Studd and Super D. They want to try to take you on. You're a Louisiana champion, you got to defend that title. The whole state of Louisiana, Mississippi champion, the state of Mississippi. So when you attract a title by the prestige and the importance of the title, so you attract the action. Wow, Tom Jones just about got a 3 count on DiBiase right here on TV. That would be a big upset to the new North American champion. Reverse headlock by Jones. So far, though, it's certainly DiBiase is still in the same style he's always wrestled, aggressive, hard, clean, fast, scientific. We haven't seen anything that shows a complete 180 degree in temperament or anything else. Maybe there is grounds for doubt as to what DiBiase did to the Junkyard Dog. DiBiase maintained, even after viewing that film clip, that there was nothing in that glove. Certainly we have nothing to prove any different. Body slam. Turnbuckle. DiBiase getting a little rough, a little aggressive there, and Tom Jones retaliates in kind. Tom is just going ahead and sticking him. He says, I'm not going to take any of this nonsense. Tom firing in there. Gut shot. Tom Jones is coming here to walk tall. Headbutt. That's a big one. He's got DiBiase in a lot of trouble. DiBiase's going to his tights, boy, and I can't believe my eyes. The champion going to his tights, and something is going in that glove, Boyd Pierce. Tom Jones hadn't seen it. DiBiase reverses Jones in, and he tees off. And Jones is out. Tom Jones is out. DiBiase's picking him up. Pile driver. Inside cradle. Boyd Pierce, I think, right there. One picture is worth 10,000 words in this. Look at the defiance. Look at the defiance on DiBiase's face as he faces that crowd. Ted DiBiase, the North American champion, may have just embarked on a rocky, rocky road, Boyd Pierce.
From the tights to the glove to the jaw to the pile driver, a victory for Ted DiBiase. The Junkyard Dog versus Bob Roop after this message from Mid-South Wrestling.
This is a non-title event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 252 pounds, from Blacksburg, Virginia, former North American heavyweight champion Bob Roop. And in the blue corner at 265 pounds from Tennessee, the Louisiana heavyweight champion, co-holder of the Mid-South Tag Team belts, and former North American heavyweight champion, the Junkyard Dog.
As the introduction of this exciting event, the Junkyard Dog versus former North American heavyweight champion Bob Roop. Alfred Neely points this way, calling for the bell. Match underway. Bill Watts.
Have you ever heard of a person having a weekend headache? I think the Dog's had a week-long headache because he looks like he came in a mood he left in last week, and he's out ready, and Bob Roop is feeling it, and Roop doesn't want it. I mean, Bob Roop is a tough man. He's been North American champion, Louisiana champion. Oh, clothesline. 15-yard penalty in the National Football League. The Junkyard Dog is out to walk tall. Look at that. Look at that. Bob Roop just... The Junkyard Dog he's fit to be tied. He just said, Bill, who can I trust? What can I trust? So I'm going to go back just like I was when I was a kid. I'm going back to my junkyard, get just as mean as when I used to have to fight my way to school to get my milk money there when the bullies had tried to take it away from me. Something like everybody in the ring, what it's going to be like slow dragging in a telephone booth with a tiger. Bob Roop going for the hip toss, and the Dog just clamps down with that 560-pound bench press ability, reverses it, and he really Bob Roop. I don't think the dog wants anybody to have any doubts as who the #1 contender will be for Ted DiBiase, the North American title. And Boyd Pierce, one thing I think I can promise you, when the dog, there's a big thump. I think Boyd Pierce, I can promise you that when the dog and DiBiase meet up, the match is going to have a lot different tempo and a lot different intensity than the last time, because the Junkyard Dog and DiBiase won't be out there in a clean, legal, scientific bout with the Junkyard Dog thinking that's the friend, that's the man, he was best man in his wedding. I think it'll be more like a Judas, and Junkyard Dog will be wanting DiBiase to feel the same thing that Bob Roop must now be feeling.
Exactly, Bill, as he leaves Bob Roop prone in the ring, and we'll be back with more action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
And now a title match for the Mississippi Heavyweight Championship. This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 246 pounds, the former North American heavyweight champion, the Grappler. And in the blue corner at 242 pounds, the Mississippi heavyweight champion, Mr. Olympia.
The state champion of the state of Mississippi will defend his title now in this match, Mr. Olympia versus the challenger, the masked grappler. Your referee for this title match, Rick Ferreira. This should really be a wild one, Bill.
Certainly should. The young man, both of them masked. The grappler has been the North American champion, been the Mississippi champion, been the Louisiana champion. Mr. Olympia won the Mississippi title, co-holder with the Junkyard Dog of the Mid-South Tag title. Boyd, I wonder, can the Junkyard Dog now trust Mr. Olympia? I mean, where is the dog as far as being able to trust and to have any faith? You know, here's a man wearing a mask that's his partner, his co-holder of the Mid-South Tag title. But the man who, Ted DiBiase, and like I said, he was the best man at DiBiase's wedding. They've stuck together through thick and thin, and DiBiase, the North American title, and the position DiBiase put him in caused DiBiase to take measures that's going to affect DiBiase's life, and certainly the relationship of the dog and DiBiase from now on. I wonder what the dog must be feeling about Mr. Olympia. I know this, that when Mr. Olympia came, it was without any fanfare, and he came and said, "Dog," he said, "I know that anybody that's your partner is a marked man, and I'm going to be your partner, and I'm going to stick with you," and thus he has. But certainly the dog right now has to wonder after the DiBiase situation, and certainly what DiBiase proved with Tom Jones, that everything Bob Roop said about him must have a basis. Mississippi title match, one fall or TV time remaining. Standby matches, Big Ernie Ladd, a special challenge against Killer Khan. Buck Robley against Rick Hangman Harris. And if we have time, Joe Stark and David Price against the one-man gang and the Assassin. Wow. The grappler shows why he's called the Grappler. He's got a challenge to everybody. Beat me if you can. So when you're the best in the wrestling business, they call you the Grappler. Tremendous intensity. Next week, Precious Paul Ellering will be back with another spotlight and also should be ready to wrestle. Precious Paul said he'll be wrestling here next week. Dr. Death Steve Williams. There's been a challenge going on for some weeks that Bob Roop has said he'd challenge Dr. Death to a match. We hope to have that match on TV next week. The Grappler bearing down. Driving into Mr. Olympia. Olympia gets out of bounds. Referee has to break it. The Grappler doesn't give him a chance to recover, though, firing right into a body lock. Great to see Tommy Chesborough, the Oklahoma State University coach in Pueblo, Colorado at the USWF Championships. His son, fine young junior high athlete, certainly has all the technique and skills that make a father of a great team so proud of him. Coach Stanley Abel, Oklahoma University. His son has a good chance to be one of the top 142-pounders in the nation next year. These coaches get to be in the profession and watch their children. Somewhere, two fathers are watching these two men vie for that Mississippi State title. All out, the rough, rugged world of professional wrestling. Grappler looks like the grappler's going for the mask. Maybe he's going to unmask Mr. Olympia. Well, that's going to cause some fireworks. I guarantee you these men protect their identities. Now, Olympia firing away. It's technically against the rules. The mask is considered the same as hair, and they're not supposed to be able to pull it, tug it. Drop kick by Mr. Olympia. Now looks like he's going to show the grappler that two can go after that identity revealing situation. Oh, high risk, high flying move. The grappler loading that boot, loading that orthopedic shoe, Boyd Pierce. Wow, he's just trying to stomp Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia moving. He knows he's in a lot of trouble. He caught the grappler. He's got the sleeper. He's got the sleeper. Pushed him in. Caught him in a roll up. Mr. Olympia retains the Mississippi title.
He never got a chance to use the loaded boot, and there you see referee Rick Pereira handing him the coveted belt, signifying he's still Mississippi State champion. We'll be back. The Big Ernie Ladd versus Killer Khan after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 306 pounds from Mongolia, General Skandor Akbar presents Killer Khan. And in the blue corner, at 327 pounds from Houston, Texas, the big cat, Ernie Ladd.
That's right, the big cat, Ernie Ladd, versus huge, massive, muscular, and powerful Killer Khan under the managership of General Skandor Akbar.
Well, Skandor Akbar is a man that knows goodbyes, and how he got Killer Khan away from Freddie Blassie in New York is a mystery that we don't know, but Akbar has been known to spare no expense. Big Ernie Ladd is after Killer Khan. Wow, Killer Khan felt the wrath of the big Hall of Famer from the San Diego Chargers as Big Ernie put that big ham to him. Skandor Akbar in the corner. Standby match. One fall TV time remaining. We have Buck Robley versus Rick Hangman Harris next if we have time. Killer Khan firing away, the man only man who ever put Andre the Giant in the hospital. And Killer Khan showing that viciousness. Man's in fantastic condition. Ernie Ladd, size 20 shoe there. 17, 20, somewhere in there.
After you get past 17, Bill, it doesn't really make that much difference.
Doesn't make any difference. Bear hug on the ropes. Ladd putting that 320 pounds into Killer Khan. Ladd 6'9", 320. Forearm, that forearm that used to devastate the offensive lineman. The American Football League. Ladd showing that size. He's pulling out all stops in this bout. Killer Khan, the minute you relax 1 second, take your concentration away. Khan, a martial arts expert with the size and strength to make anything effective.
Bill, if you'll notice Oriental stars, most of them have a ritual they go through. Killer Khan, whenever he becomes the aggressor, he has a mercenary squeal.
Well, that squeal or that scream comes way back from that early judo and martial arts training. It's more than just psychological. The actual fact is that when you make a move or a technique move of any kind, and when you scream, it forces the tightening of your abdominal muscles, which adds to the power and strength of whatever you do. So it's really not just a scream to put fear in the heart of your opponent, but it's actually a technique they learned from childhood in the Eastern and the Oriental and the Mongolian countries, where they hand-to-hand combat is something taught from a very young age. Ernie Ladd better keep his concentration on what's going on in the ring and not let the referee be a bother to him, because the referee can't really decide the outcome of this match one way or another. All he can do is attempt, and I say attempt, to enforce the loosely enforced rules and regulations of professional wrestling with two giants like this, because certainly he's going to be intimidated by them. Wow. Man, Ladd went for the guillotine type leg maneuver. The referee knocked clear out here on the floor. Skandar Akbar's got that steel chair up there, and looks like he's putting it against the corner post and telling Khan to throw Ernie Ladd into it. But Ernie Ladd turned the tables. Ernie Ladd, you've got to keep Ernie Ladd after Skandar Akbar. Khan's, oh! Boyd Pierce, Killer Khan really laid it to Ernie Ladd.
A tremendous wallop, that steel chair right across the head of the big cat.
Thrust kick to the throat. Killer Khan going up. Whoa! Victory to Killer Khan.
With Akbar on the outside directing, Killer Khan did just what he wanted him to do and gained a victory over Ernie Ladd. We'll be back and see Colonel Buck Robley versus Hangman Rick Harris after this word.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 275 pounds from the Big Sky country of Montana, the Hangman Rick Harris. And in the blue corner, at 242 pounds from Amarillo, Texas, Buckley Christopher George Robley III.
Hangman Harris in the ring with his rope, lariat, and a noose. He's had a lot of great victories using that hangman hold that he brings, but he's never faced a man unpredictable like Colonel Buck Robley, Bill.
Colonel Buck Robley, boy, I guess I'm sitting here a little bit subdued right now. You know, we just had a battle of giants, and certainly it was a giant battle with Skandar Akbar and Killer Khan coming out on one of the greatest athletes ever in football or wrestling, Ernie Ladd. And now we got Colonel Buck Robley against Rick Hangman Harris, who tried to make a name for himself by collecting a bounty on Dick Murdoch. He didn't collect the bounty, but he did hang Dick Murdoch up a little bit. You know, when I think about the redneck, Captain Redneck, the ex-Marine that's so proud of it on his foreign tour in Tokyo, Dubai, Hong Kong, I just wonder what his reaction's going to be when word catches up to him, and word travels so fast in wrestling. When word catches up to him about Ted DiBiase, his young protege, the man that he's known Teddy since Teddy was a youngster, and Dick Murdoch always looked up to Ted's deceased father, Iron Mike, who was fatally injured in a match in Texas and died, and Iron Mike DiBiase. I just wonder what Dick Murdoch, how he's going to reflect on this situation, because, you know, he was a partner of the Dogs. And they said that it could never be done, that a redneck like Dick Murdoch and the Junkyard Dog, a man from the ghetto, could ever be a team. The Murdoch and Dog were a team, and they were an inseparable team, and they were a victorious team. And now for Ted DiBiase, his own protege, so to speak, to be so treacherous and so infamous against the Junkyard. I just wonder what Dick Murdoch will say and what his reaction will be. A lot of things going through my mind right now, Boyd Pierce, and of course, Buck Robley, Colonel Christopher Robley. A man that says, nobody calls me yellow. He asks no quarter and he gives none. Knows every trick in the book, from the psychological warfare to the infighting, the wrestling. He's no stranger to have beat Buck Robley. He'll admit that he's been whipped. But I'll guarantee everybody that's ever whipped him has paid a price. And certainly Buck Robley's come out on top and won a lot more than he's lost. He's got a great heart. Hangman Harris and Buck Robley. Great victory by a great young Mississippi champion, Mr. Olympia. A lot of things happening, but Boyd, I guess you just need sometimes time to sit down and really reflect on them. It never stands still in Mid-South Wrestling. It's always ongoing. It's always exciting. Arm drag takeover by Buck Robley, showing that wrestling ability. Hangman Harris firing back. He knows he can beat Buck Robley, that everybody in the whole world in wrestling is going to take note. Forearm smashes. Next week, Precious Paul Ellering. Possibility of a match between Steve Dr. Death Williams and Bob Roop. Another quick move by Robley. Now Buck starting to fight back with some of that alley instinct, but Rick Harris got a tremendous head of steam built up there, a good momentum, and it's hard to turn it around. Reverse neck breaker. Harris using the patented attack that he has where he attacks that neck. Robley coming out. Harris is hanging Buck. He's got Buck up in that hangman. Buck coming over the top. Buck, did he adjust that brace? I couldn't tell, Boyd Pierce, looking at the monitor, but Buck Robley sure popped him with something, and the hangman has just been stretched out himself, and Buck Robley, 1, 2, 3.
Well, Buck did just what he had to do, and the hangman thought he had him. It did not work. Robley the winner.
He's been known to do what he has to do.
Exactly, and we'll come right back after this important message from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. We have just a few minutes left, so we're going to show you a bounty hunter who came here a few weeks ago. He'll return next week. We'll join the final moments of a match between Jim Duggan and Frank Monty from San Antonio. Watch it right now.
He takes a big blow there from Hacksaw Duggan. There's another one. Monty tries to make a comeback on Duggan. Duggan rakes the fingers across the area of the eyes. Now Duggan grabs him by the arm, brings him all the way into the ropes, knocks him down with an elbow. Big Hacksaw Duggan with a kick to the top of the head of Frank Monty. Duggan, former professional football player for the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, picks him up. What's he going to do with him? Shoulder breaker. A shoulder breaker. I haven't seen that in a while either. I've seen a few shoulders broken like that.
That's right, Steve. You know, I believe Hacksaw's theory is stay on top of your man, tire him down no matter what it takes, stomp and kick and punch, and it looks like he's trying to twist Frank's head around so he can see where he's been instead of where he's going right now.
Hacksaw Duggan with a knee to the back of Frank Monty. No, we had a lot of people asking about the Southwest heavyweight champion, Dick Slater. Well, Dick Slater is still the Southwest heavyweight champion. I want all the fans to know as Frank Monty makes a comeback on Hacksaw Duggan. He grabs Duggan out of that corner, goes him to the center of the ring. Frank Monty comes in on top of him, grabs him by the head, up a forearm to the side of the head, staggers him back. There's another forearm. Duggan is in the corner across the way with Monty in front. Monty brings him all the way across the ring, throws him into the turnbuckle, and there's a knee up underneath the chin of Frank Monty by Hacksaw Duggan. Monty, a leap off the ropes, and Duggan caught him. Duggan caught him, and now he slams him in there, Scott. He's bringing him over this way. Look at that wild look on that face of Hacksaw Duggan.
It looks like he's got a ping pong ball he's bouncing around. He caught that 235 pounds of man in midair.
That's all the time we have this week. Next week, Jim Duggan will be here, Precious Paul Ellering, also Dr. Death Steve Williams versus Bob Roop. For guest commentator Bill Watts, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye from Mid-South Wrestling.